Mr. Moe, item number 1, Mr. Moe.
I recognize the member for Rosthern-Shellbrook.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank you for allowing me some time to enter today's debate. In light of worldwide economic conditions and a few other provincial budgets that were released recently, it is incumbent of us to appreciate our Saskatchewan provincial budget for what it is, balanced. Visiting municipalities these past months, I have heard appreciation for their sustainable funding model. This was exactly the type of stable, predictable funding model that was requested by these and other municipalities, and it was this government that delivered the municipal revenue sharing formula. It was last year's budget that provided over $216 million, or 1 full percentage point of the PST collected, to the municipal governments. This year's budget builds on this with an increase of 9.5%, or over $20 million. This will bring the total revenue sharing in the coming year to over $237 million for municipalities. This amount is 87% higher than it ever was under the new Democratic Party. Through municipal revenue sharing, we are placing 1 full point of the PST collected directly into the hands of our local municipal governments. In our constituency, this results in tangible increases in funding to communities such as Hafford with a 111% increase, a community such as Spiritwood with a 96% increase, a community such as Rosthern with a 114% increase, or Blaine Lake at a 108% increase, and Shellbrook with a 130% increase. This, in turn, improves these communities' financial ability to respond quickly and appropriately to local concerns and challenges that we know they face each year. This budget, introduced by the Finance Minister, laid the foundation that will repair over 1,200 kilometres of highway to keep our commitment to invest $2.2 billion in Saskatchewan highways over the next 4 years. This includes over $70 million in upgrades through the Rural Highway Strategy. This will bring 150 kilometres of rural highway to primary weight. There's also been $63 million invested in the Gateway Corridor projects that improve the safety and efficiency of highway traffic. A project of significance to Rosthern is the twinning of Highway 11 from Saskatoon to Prince Albert, which is funded in part through this program. The introduction of the Passing Lane Initiative will add another economical option to improve the efficiency and safety of many highways that are now experiencing an increase in traffic flow. Al Rossiker from the Saskatchewan Trucking Association has stated during the last 5 years, this government has viewed highways as a road to economic prosperity. This government's investment of over $581 million in highways in this budget will sustain the Saskatchewan Advantage for Saskatchewan people. As I travel through the 30-plus municipalities in Rosthern-Shellbrook, it's abundantly obvious that agriculture is a primary industry and part of the backbone of the economy in this province. I have previously spoken of the importance of funding such programs as the Agri-Invest, Agri-Stability, and crop insurance at the outset each year to ensure their availability that season. It should also be noted that with the introduction of this year's budget, crop insurance investment at $177 million is record provincial investment. Crop insurance coverage averaging $174 an acre is almost double what it ever reached under the previous NDP government. With continued investment in productivity by Saskatchewan producers, it's prudent to provide an insurance program that meets the changing needs of this industry. The changing needs, Mr. Speaker, that I am referring to are our provincial agricultural exports. In 2007, ag exports totaled $6 billion. In 2011, our Saskatchewan agricultural exports increased by over 60% to over $10 billion. This places Saskatchewan at the top of the agri-food exporting provinces in the Dominion of Canada. Canola, or the flour of power, has overtaken wheat as the top export in the province of Saskatchewan. In the past 5 years, canola exports have increased by over 250% to over $2.1 billion this past year. Much of this increase in production and value must be attributed to our province's producers. The producers that we have in Saskatchewan today, Mr. Speaker, are educated in all aspects of agronomics, business management, and marketing. In past decades, limiting crop quality and production factors have often been overcome by successful research. Research and development of improved agronomic traits with respect to crop varieties and best practices have added not only higher production, but better quality products to sell at the farm gate. This government feels it's prudent to invest over $20 million in agricultural research. This represents record investment again and includes $2 million for wheat genomic research. Mr. Speaker, it is imperative, with agriculture being such a significant component of our economy, that we invest in its research and development to ensure continued success of our world-class Saskatchewan agricultural products. The importance of agriculture to our economy is part of what will sustain the Saskatchewan Advantage that our producers have helped create. Since 2007, we have increased operating funding to school divisions in Saskatchewan by approximately 21%. Since 2007, Mr. Speaker, we invested approximately $500 million in pre-K to 12 and child care infrastructure. This includes 41 major school capital projects throughout the province. Over half of the schools in the province have received funding for much-needed upgrades or improvements. As a government, we have made a record investment in this area since 2007, including 42% increase in the total number of child care spaces, and we have allocated funding for 13,240 licensed child care spaces. The total number of pre-kindergarten programs has increased by 85%. We have added 131 pre-K programs and an additional 2,096 vulnerable 3 and 4-year-olds. Today, over 4,500 children are benefiting from this invaluable learning program. The 2012-13 education budget fulfills the Government of Saskatchewan's commitment to a fair balance in funding for school divisions across the province, as well as heightened commitment to student achievement with a focus on ensuring more equitable outcomes of our First Nation and Métis students, a continued commitment to child care spaces, as well as pre-kindergarten. Library and literacy programs are also included. This year, the increased investment in education will provide more equitable support through our province educational system and an increased commitment to ensuring success for all students, from early childhood to high school graduation. The launch of the new education funding distribution model provides a long-anticipated and fair balance in funding for school divisions across Saskatchewan. Government's overall funding to school divisions is $1.74 billion, an increase of 5%, which includes an increase in the operating funding of $59 million. Included in the support this year is a $10 million transition funding, which is being allocated to mitigate the impact on those school divisions who will see notable shifts in funding due to the new distribution model. $500,000 is also committed to summer literacy camps. Held in 20 communities across the province, these camps work to reduce summer reading loss by engaging children aged 5 to 14 in camp activities rooted in literacy and numeracy. An increase of 1.6% in funding of libraries and community-based organizations. Principled, sustainable spending is another way the Ministry of Education is committed to ensuring Saskatchewan remains a great place to live, grow, and learn. The Ministry will focus its efforts this year on engaging its partners, initially school divisions, in learning and implementing new efficiency practices such as shared services and group purchasing. Well-maintained, efficient school environments are the foundation for supporting the achievement and successes of all the students. This is also critical to sustaining growth and prosperity in our province of Saskatchewan. By keeping the Saskatchewan Advantage, we will ensure our young people are prepared for continued success in their work and in their lives. Mr. Speaker, health investment by the people of Saskatchewan will be greater than it has ever been, and more importantly, this investment will come with a patient-focused system. Healthcare investment will increase 4.9% to improve access for all Saskatchewan residents. This includes investment in areas such as infrastructure, professional recruitment and retention, as well as continuing the approach to the reduction of surgery wait times. Improving access, Mr. Speaker, is moving forward with design and construction of healthcare facilities in this province. This includes funding to continue with the design and construction of 13 long-term care facilities, as well as continuing funding to a completed pilot project with a non-profit organization. The Amicus facility is now a place that many Saskatchewan citizens call home. Maintaining the Saskatchewan Advantage is advancing the design and construction phases of the Children's Hospital in Saskatoon, the Saskatchewan Hospital in North Battleford, the replacement of the Moose Jaw Union Hospital in Moose Jaw. Improving access, Mr. Speaker, is providing $60 million to move forward with the Saskatchewan Surgical Initiative. We are continuing with the 4-year plan to provide by 2014 all Saskatchewan residents with the ability to have necessary surgery performed within 3 months. The Saskatchewan Surgical Initiative is proudly supported again in this budget and is producing positive results for patients and their families in our province. Improving access in rural areas continues to be addressed in this budget. This budget supports the increase of training seats for nurse practitioners and physicians. It continues to support the doubling of the residency positions and available to this province's medical grads, as well as creating opportunities for placements of medical graduates from other areas of the world. Combined with the increase in training opportunities is the forgiveness of Saskatchewan student loans of up to $120,000 for physicians and $20,000 for nurse and nurse practitioners that choose to work in identified underserved rural locations. Mr. Speaker, this incentive will encourage new healthcare professionals to practice in our province. This is yet another example of improving access in healthcare in Saskatchewan. $1.5 million of this budget will go directly to fund the rural locum physician pool. The formation of this locum pool is crucial to the continuity of service in rural areas. This was a campaign commitment by this party, and now it will be funded and implemented by this government. Improving access, Mr. Speaker, includes $5.5 million an increase of $5.5 million to the Shock Trauma Air Rescue Society, as well as an increase of $16 million to the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency to support access to cancer services. $5.5 million is available to introduce an innovative, team-based approach to access sustainable and stable primary health care, and thereby improving the patient experience. $4 million, Mr. Speaker, has been provided to expand the colorectal screening program province-wide to increase early detection and thereby improve patient outcomes. There's been an increase of $98 million to regional health authorities to continue to deliver services to the people of this province. These are some of the initiatives that will improve access for all Saskatchewan residents to their health care system, and this in turn contributes to sustaining the Saskatchewan Advantage. Today, Mr. Speaker, more people call Saskatchewan home than ever before. This past January, there was 1,067,612 people living in Saskatchewan. This is up year over year by over 17,000 people and the largest increase since 1953. This balanced budget, Mr. Speaker, is for municipalities. This balanced budget, Mr. Speaker, is for the students of Saskatchewan. It's for people living with disabilities. This budget is for people in need of surgery and health care. Mr. Speaker, this balanced budget is for Saskatchewan highways and is for Saskatchewan agriculture. And Mr. Speaker, this balanced budget is for the sustainability and the quality of life of Saskatchewan people. Mr. Speaker, with that, I would like to make a motion. I'd like to make the motion that this Assembly commend the Saskatchewan Party government for passing the only balanced provincial budget in the Dominion of Canada for the 2012-2013 fiscal year. Hear, hear.